I just think this hero has no classic item build and everything like feels very good, but very dog shit at the same time. So you need to get a feeling about that. Hello everybody and welcome back to the next video. This time we're gonna talk about one simple question. Why is Mirana one of the most picked heroes at the Dream League Season 22? Actually, at this point currently, she is the most picked hero in the entire tournament. And we're gonna talk about the reasons, in my opinion, why this hero is getting picked, and is she really good or is she just like a bad hero and just nobody realizes? So let's just start at the changes. Like some changes were very good and some changes were like kind of questionable because Mirana did not got buffed the entire time. If we are just looking at the history of the changes, last patch she got buffed. The patch before she got buffed. But the patch before that she got nerfed. The damage got decreased by the arrow, the leap cooldown got increased by all levels, and even the patch before I think they nerfed her as well at some point. Yeah, the stun duration got nerfed, then they decreased the damage, but this was because she turned into a universal hero. And overall, the change with the universal hero is like a very, I would say bad for Mirana, because this hero doesn't get so many stats. Like the stat gain is not that good. If we are just looking at the stat gain, it is super low. Like the agility, cool and nice, but 1.4 RG and 1.7 strength is like nothing. In my opinion, this hero needs definitely minimum 2.0 int gain and strength gain. And then I would say, okay, this hero is in a very good state, decent stats, decent armor level 1, decent attack range, and decent damage as well. And later on in the game, she gets even more damage because of the stat gain is higher, and she's a universal hero. So in this aspect, I think Mirana is very weak. And you can also feel it because whenever you lane with a Mirana, sometimes this hero is like the best hero in the game, it feels like on the lane, and sometimes this hero is just literally a creep. It depends what the enemies have. Alright, the biggest upside though on Mirana, and why everybody picks it in my opinion, is basically because of one reason. Team Falcons won the last tournament. It sounds a bit weird, but like, I'll be honest, Mirana is a very good flex pick. You can put her on position 5 and you can put her on position 4 and you can decide where to lane. If you see the lane, you can decide like, yo, is this a good lane for me or is it a bad lane? And I can tell you, Mirana hates it to play against aggressive lanes. Whenever heroes start running at her, she feels horrible. But if you can just like chill on the lane and you can start hitting people, you feel super good. And if you even have a setup on the lane, you feel great. And if you just look at this draft from Falcons. They have a Mirana, they have a Huskar middle, which is like, okay, whatever, and they have a Pangle on the offlane. These two heroes are like kind of whatever. But she has a Shadow Demon and a Dragon Knight. And a Dragon Knight on the lane. That basically means she has a very good setup in the entire game and a very good setup in the lane. And this is what makes Mirana very good. Also, one big upside on Mirana currently in the patch is that all the heroes that are like kind of a counter to her arrow basically are not the greatest right now. Like for example, Abaddon is not getting really played and Oracle is not getting really played if you just think about it. Like nobody plays these kind of heroes anymore because they're not as good currently and nobody wants to pick them basically. Like the only hero I can think about that is like very good against Mirana plus a counter to the arrow is Slark. Like Slark is one of the very big meta heroes that can be very effective against Mirana and in my opinion even a counter. Like whenever Slark pounces, Mirana is basically dead kind of anytime in the game. Depends what item she has. So I would say you get a few benefits with Mirana, but overall I would not say this is a great hero. Like I've tried her so much and my win rate was like 60% before the patches, like I think like 3 months ago or something. And I also tried to make this hero work. But my biggest problem with this hero is not even the laning stage, which I think is the weakest part of Mirana. It is the items. Like what do you want to build on this hero? Like I feel like you can build whatever you want and it still feels very useless sometimes. And that's like my problem. I've watched some games by SnakKing and by Crit, and it also feels like they don't really know what to build. They're just building according to the team. Like they just build whatever the team needs. But in my opinion, in pubs, this is not like what should happen. Because in pubs, it's like a bit different. In pubs, you wanna like play a little bit for yourself. You wanna like be strong, and you don't wanna be the person that only buys team items or like only, let's say, buys whatever your cores are saying. You wanna have like one go-to item build which can be very effective, and if you want to like change it up, you can change it up. But on the Mirana, in my opinion, I feel like there's no item build you can always go in every single game. Like on other heroes, for example, on a Rubik you can always go Blink first or Edellands first. On a Crystal Maiden you can always go Tranquils first, you go Trumps first, you go like BKB first, it depends. Like you always have a classic build and you can change it up a little bit, which is a complete different story in Mirana. I just think this hero has no classic item build and everything like feels very good, but very dog shit at the same time. So you need to get a feeling about that. So now we are going to like just check out what SnakKing is doing, which I said before, he has a very good setup on the lane and perfect setups in the game. And you will see what's gonna happen. Whenever he has a setup, he's just going for it. Even if he doesn't have arrow, it doesn't really matter. Like just a stun, so you can queue it up, is a lot of damage. One stun into like Starfall is killing every single hero, trust me. So in laning, he's literally blocking the big camp, even though he's Mirana. He just wants to prevent the enemies from pulling. Plus, the second idea in his brain probably is like, he doesn't really want to skill arrow level 2, so he doesn't like need to deal with this camp. And he can't deal with this camp if he's not going for arrow. But it depends. I think a lot of Mirana players are deciding on what to skill, how the lane goes. Like, if the enemies are playing very aggressive, you usually go for leap, but if they don't go aggressive and you can just like hit, and you damage together with your DK, and you can like easily arrow somebody up with your DK as well, you go for the arrow. But it's always like a preference and depends on the situations. So as you can see as well, Mars, Bad Rider, is like not a lane that is going to run at you. And whenever they are running at you, the DK is gonna stun one person and the entire go of them is like whatever. So this is like the benefit of Mirana, because Mirana is not that bad in a 1v1, especially against a Bad Rider. Like your attack range is so much higher, your damage is like fine, even higher than Bad Rider, and overall your stats are probably even better. Like your HP is probably lower than Bad Rider, but overall you're trading pretty effectively against this hero and you are feeling like very fine. So like he's just like chilling there, hitting, he's maybe securing the range. Now he needs to care because they can start running at him. Like as a Mirana, you always need to care about your position, especially on level 1. Level 2 you can play cocky because you can go for leap as he did, but level 1, just be careful. Wait for your levels and then you can play cocky. Don't overcommit yourself and die. Plus one more thing as well is the item build he did, I really like it because he just wants to tank. Like he wants to tank some hits for his DK and that's all he wants to do. I'm pretty sure he's gonna bring even more regen and he's just like tries to be annoying and he's waiting his timing. And his timing is basically level 3 or level 4. Before that they're not killing anybody because they don't really have the damage yet. They need a stun into level 2 Starfall, or they need a stun into like an arrow and level 2 Starfall. Like either of these. But Mirana, her timing is basically level 3. That's when the damage is like pumping in, because the Starfall level 2 is like, I think like 200 damage burst, which is very high for like a level 2 spell. So you can definitely abuse this, and you will definitely not die because you have a leap. Actually, 3 leaps, my bad. To just like prevent yourself from dying. So just wait your timings and play it safe. Don't risk anything. This is like a risky pull because he pulled the entire wave, which is not the best. But the reason why he can do this and it doesn't really matter is because he has a DK. Like with any other position 1, I would say no. Because like if he has a Slug or something, the enemies can just like pressure him or like push the wave in and Slug is like kind of getting annoyed. But I said like a DK doesn't really care. Like he's super fine under the tower, he has so much regen, he has so much armor, and he like just doesn't care. So now we're gonna like screw it up a little bit because I want to see the timing, what they're using. So Mirana level 3, now they can maybe go. Now they can maybe like start doing something and now he's pumping damage. And you will see they're gonna like either wait for level 4 and then do something, or he's just gonna like AFK harass the enemies. Because he can do it, he deals a lot of damage. So they were thinking about going on the Mars, as you can see. And now they're like, okay, the enemies are dodging us. The enemies also now, because they have a lot of damage now with the double stun. With the level 2 Starfall, I mean, and the DK stun. And later on even with the arrow, so anything dies. Right now he's just like getting experience, he's trying to like pressure up. But like overall, you just see, the laning phase on Mirana is not really surprisingly good. And that's the reason why I think this hero is like kinda whatever. Like you can pick this hero, he feels okay, he feels like fine, but he's definitely not strong and definitely not like a wow hero. Mirana is just like okay. If I would rate her like on like an S to like D tier list, I would say Mirana is like a solid C. Not a B, not a D, but like a solid C. She's okay. She does what like a position 4 or 5 needs to do, and she is like not really feeding on the lanes because of the leaps, so that's like very nice. But overall, as you see, this hero is like not as good as people think, I would say. And in my opinion, the biggest reason why this hero is getting picked so much is just because Falcons are doing it and they are very successful with it. Plus, they won the last tournament. That's like, in my opinion, the biggest reason why this hero is getting picked by everybody in the tournament on the Dream League Season 22. So yeah, I really hope I can give you like some small insights with that. And I thank everybody for watching, and we're gonna see us in the next video. Peace and bye-bye.